they found a fella almost completely divine, but his vocabulary is killing this romance of mine. We get into an intimate situation, and then begins this Romeo's conversation. He says murder, he says, every time we kiss, he says murder, he says, at a time like this, he says murder, he says, is that the language of love? He says solid, he says, takes me in his arms, he says solid, he says, meaning all my charms, he says solid, he says, is that the language of love? He says chick, chick, you torture me, zoom, are we living? I'm thinking of leaving him flat. He says dig, dig, the jumps the old ticker is given. No, he can't talk plainer than that. He says murder, he says, every time we kiss, he says murder, he says, keep it up like this and have murder, he says, in that impossible tone. We'll bring on nobody's murder but his own. He says Jackson, he says, and my name's Marie, he says Jackson, he says, shoot the snoot for me, he says Jackson, he says, is that the language of love? He says woot woot, he says, when he likes my hat, he says, what the heck?